Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw. Okay. Is that a photo of Noah?
Yes.
He's hugging. Is that you as well? Is that the both of you two?
Yes.
Because I can't tell. Photographs are strange, so the angle is a little strange, but that's a photo of you as well. A really beautiful selfie. Noah is taking the image. He's kind of holding it at arm's length. You're seated on his lap. It's an image of radiant joy. Half of the image is blasted from, it's overexposed. You're wearing a white shirt, so a lot of the image is just blasted, no detail, just really, really white. Super close embrace. You're making this nice self-portrait. Okay, what is this other than just a beautiful moment between two people?
That was a day after my 50th birthday, and we were in Bali. And that day I was going off to India to do this yoga teacher training. So I was actually really sad. I was in and out of sadness because I didn't want to go off for 4 weeks. And also, who knew? I had no idea I was going to be, off on a trek for 6 months. So this picture is basically, to me, telling me all along what got me through from this moment of my 50th birthday and going off to fulfill this dream of becoming a yoga teacher, to come back, to carry on doing our retreats around Asia, to just enjoying this life. It's telling me that what got me around, if you like, in a full circle to come back in a way to being back in that position was the belief that I had that we would be reunited. And so many people, in my past, I know I used to be very, so I just remember an example when I was in my 20s and I had this boyfriend and he went off for summer. I think I was 24 and we just finished our degree and I cried the whole 5 weeks that he was away. And I would cry to people, oh, it's over, blah, blah, he won't come back to me, And so I was crying about something that hadn't even happened. And this wasn't intuition, because intuition is usually calm, right? Intuition is neutral. This was fear. And again, it was me buying into this whole fear so much, so strong that for sure I created that reality. For sure. I mean, I for sure. And I have other examples of where, I learned the hard way. When you cry about something that hasn't happened yet, often you cry about it for real. And so this picture's just, I love it. It's beautiful. And 6 months later, we were reunited, and all the way through of being separated, there were practices that I used on myself to keep myself, even when I didn't do it perfectly. I wobbled. I had moments of when I was crying, but I also, like I said before, was the more you make yourself shift your state, the easier it becomes to do it when you are wobbling and feeling in the middle of that anxiety or separation anxiety or just COVID or lockdown or how horrific life can be sometimes. The more that you do it, the easier it becomes to do it, even when the mind attacks you,
Right.
And I truly believe to this day that it could have gone so many ways, but I stand by the belief, and I'm just opening it to look at the picture. I stand by the belief and knowing that I kept myself more than 51% of the time, because people will say, oh, you just have to do this for 17 seconds. No, I think you have to stay open for at least 51%. Otherwise, 50-50 is status quo, and 49% would be the opposite, back into the lack. So, keeping myself open to the knowing and using all the kind of tantric magic that I've compiled for myself over the years to create the situation that I wanted or the outcome.
Sure.
And that's not to say it's not perfect. I didn't do it perfectly. I wobbled often. I cried quite a lot. And yet I knew I cried while knowing I'm going to get what I want. I shouted while knowing I'm going to get what I want. Why? Because I'll tell you what, and I'm coming back to it because this feels to me like the message of today. Why? Because I'm an infinite being and nobody puts it in my head. and nothing's set in stone. And there's no, to me, there's no God in a chair going, this is what will happen. I don't think there's soulmates either. I think there's more than one, but the one that you end up with is the one you choose to be the one.
Yes.
So that's why that picture is there. And I love it.
It's a beautiful, fantastic moment. And it's just, it's funny how, how we can't look into the future to know what's coming around the corner. We can only make sense of it looking backwards, right? So in this case, for example, when you made that photo, little did you know what was going to happen.
Exactly.
And in a way, like, it's sort of like recording this episode. Little do I know, after recording this episode, my whole fate will change. Like, I don't know what's around the corner. Okay, so how is it manifesting for you now in terms of your life? So you guys are living together. You're still serving clients. Like, what does life for Sam Spiro look like now?
Okay, so
if you could go back to that photo.
Well, these are I call it the pieces of the puzzle scenario. The pieces of the puzzle that had to fall to get me to where I am now. So based on that, I went to India and I got locked down in Rishikesh. Now, this is, I'll go into some of the story. I got locked down in Rishikesh. I remember sitting on a sofa and saying, okay, what am I going to do now? Because part of me, I was quite blasé in the beginning and I missed the window. I had a 24-hour window to leave. And there's part of me that said, no, don't leave. You cannot leave.
Okay.
Without finishing that training, and you cannot leave. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll be here till May, because I'd been in Hong Kong during bird flu. And I thought, oh, whatever, we'll just wear a mask. It'll be fine. Not knowing. And of course, it wasn't like that at all. But somehow a contact, and I got to Delhi. And in Delhi, I met some of the A-listed Delhi people, and I ended up sitting with them every day and coaching them on how to wake up, how to let go of the bullshit, how to live more in the bliss. And I did that for 3 months before finally both Noah and I met again. We were able to get out, and we got to London. But because of that, the pieces of the puzzle were, I'm going to go to India and I'm going to meet these amazing women and they're going to become my clients, and that's going to become my client base. Now, none of that would have happened.
Right.
Had Noah and I, for example, before I left, and he was like, are you sure you should go? And I was like, oh yeah, no worries. This might have been on the 23rd of February or something, before it had really hit. Yeah. I'm going. Yeah. And if I hadn't have gone, I ended up, and last year I was on a show, but I'm not going to go into that too much details about that either, but which is attached to one of these clients in India. And my whole client base, really, and I work with a lot of lovely, beautiful people in India, where we resonate so much, because so much of the teaching, so much of my own awakening, so much of my own spiritual understanding is based on the Vedic principles. So there's a real resonance I have especially with them. With anybody who's open to spiritual awakening and awareness, but they get it a lot, Yeah. And none of that would have happened had I have stayed sitting on his lap in the elephant in Bali and just thought, I won't go. Of course, might have ended up somewhere else, would have ended up somewhere else with different pieces of the puzzle. But those were my pieces of the puzzle, and I could have had no idea that was coming.
Yeah. So just for the listener, once again, the title of your book, so they can go and be inspired to get your book.
Beyond Bullshit to Bliss, a transformative guide to finding self-love, abundance, and enlightenment. And it is on Amazon.
So is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting it raw.